Hi friends, and welcome to my Shipbreaker Beginner's Tips and Tricks Guide. I'm Icon, and this video is meant to guide you around all those little things you might want to know, which the tutorial didn't necessarily show you, and I'm gonna feature a lot of things which make your life while ship cutting a lot easier. So the first part of the video will be concerning things in the practice of shipbreaking, and the second half of the video will be a little bit more theoretical tips and tricks cycling around the hab. So let's get started. So first up, when you get towards a ship, you can always use your grapple to move. The grapple is not only a tool which you can use to move items. If your range is high enough, you just tether yourself on that, hold down the right mouse button, and off you go. Just take care that your speed down there is no longer red when you reach your goal. This is really useful, and you can use it for pretty much everything out there heavier than you. So whatever is heavier than you can just tether yourself onto, hold down the right mouse button, and then slow down afterwards. This way you can achieve speeds way beyond that what's possible for you normally. So that's the first thing you really get used to quite quickly if you really like that. So I can't fly past antennas without putting them into there. So next step that I want to talk about, and the game didn't really tell me about this either good enough, when you get close to such airlocks, when you open it up, you can just hold down the X button. This lets you use your hand, because you actually have hands, and these hands hold you tight on every surface. And this is especially useful because if there's any air depressurization going on, this can really make it a lot easier to not fly around like crazy. So X button lets you tether yourself onto surfaces. This comes really handy once you have to deal with the Gecko class ships, which have a lot of doors inside which are just bothering the hell out of you. So next thing I want to talk about the thrust event controls. Once your difficulty level is high enough, you will face these things. Always plug in a key. You can buy those at the kiosk. They will do one thing. They'll eliminate the risk of this thing here blowing up on you. Once you put in the key here, this the thruster module is secured, and you can just eject it without any hassle. So these are things that really helped me out when I was new to the game. So now I'm just gonna dismantle a little bit here and there now, just like I would do if I wouldn't do a tutorial. So one of my favorite first steps is to dismantle one of those bottom plates here. One thing that's really worth mentioning is your cutting tool has a angle. So check out pay attention to the laser beam now. So the laser beam, everything it crosses on its way, visible way, like for example here, will be cut. So if I would aim my laser roughly around here, the laser beam would most likely hit the fuel tank and roast me. So keep in mind that your tools have some sort of range as well, which is really important, because when you pay attention to this thing, you're going to be able to save yourselves a lot of explosions. It's roughly a 45 degree angle. It's a matter of experience. So the next thing I want to talk about are tethers, and how to a few little things that I found out about them. So tethering is quite simple. Hold down the right mouse button, and you can bring things into the processor just like that. But what happens to me quite often is that I hold down the right mouse button, and then you have the tether menu there. So something like that. And if you just leave your right mouse button, then the tether will be put down. Really annoying. So to avoid that, you just press the Y button, that's the regular configuration, to loosen all your tethers, but it also works if you have one tether already on your cursor. You can just press Y, or whatever key you have configured to dissolve tethers. It works. And this will save you a lot of tethers alongside the game, because, you know, the accidental tether is just a thing that happens so friggin' often. So let's plug out the flash drive here. I really like those things. So here it happened to me again. No, that's just my regular beam. Looks like a tether. Whoops. There we go. So another thing that really felt very, very helpful for me was to know what these Jaxs are meant to be here for. So to give you a good example about the usage of Jaxs, let's get in there and create an opportunity to use Jaxs. So right now this is not too attractive, so we're gonna do as follows. So if we now check out our scanner, so the rear section of this ship is now dislodged. Oh yeah, before we continue with that, I want to talk about these fuel pipes. If you see fuel pipes like these, those red lights here are indicating that there's still fuel in the pipes, which means if I would touch them with my laser now, they would immediately go boom. So whenever that's the case, near your fuel tanks will be a shut-off valve. If you do that, if you use that, what happens? The pipes get flushed. So these pipes are now not dangerous to weld any longer. So what you can do now is you can safely cut into these into these pipes with no problem. So this means I could, for example, right now you can just pick up those tanks like that, and you can also smash them as you've seen, but luckily nothing happened to me here. Just destroyed a little bit of that ship. So when that happens, to avoid that, I didn't do that on purpose, but let's assume I did. It's always worth it to be very careful with explosives, to just also fly them outside before you toss them. As you see, the charged toss can explode things. That's one thing that's worth mentioning, but I guess you might have already discovered that your own. So now we have dislodged the aft section of the ship. What I really like to do is use the Jaxs here now. So if we would just tether this aft section now towards the processors where I would like it to go, there's a high chance that the furnaces here will suck that part in and ruin my day. So instead, we're using here the tethers to launch that thing onto the Jaxs. Meanwhile, forgive me while I'm looking for a little bit of oxygen. So upgrading your tether range or your grapple range is really nice to use that, because as you've seen, I've got a really, really high range on just getting back in business. I really like to use that a lot. So it's really, really cool. So now we got that thing here mounted to the Jaxs. Let's dissolve the tethers with the Y button. And now you can just safely use the tethers to shove that thing into the proper processing tool. This really saves you a lot of trouble, because I've seen a lot of people being angry about the furnace ruining their day. So that helps a lot if you have these problems. So what's next? If you want to go for full hauls or for dislodging whole ships, I would always strongly recommend you to put up a sort of a priority list. If you want to salvage a complete ship just by salvaging every single lamp in there, you're gonna go crazy. So instead, try and prioritize your work order. That's something which really paid off for me, because at first I really tried to salvage each bit and bob, and that really was very, very tiring. So that's that. Apart from these obvious things, you of course have to dislodge generators and such things, but I don't want to talk about generators and how to deal with them in a beginner's guide, because I feel like that's something you can find out on your own, and that's a lot of fun too. So explosive barrels, I remove them before I work further in here, because they are so friggin' dangerous. Because that's another thing that you can save yourself a lot of pain. So everything which can burn or which can produce burns in a ship environment has to be removed first, in my opinion, because a lot of loot items start to burn themselves, and then you're really in trouble, because out here in space stuff burns really slowly. And here we got, oh yeah, and you can also pick up things with the X button here if they are small enough. But what I also wanted to talk about now are cut guards. Cut guards are just like, if you try to burn them or weld through them, they're going to start burning and put you into a lot of trouble. What you got to do is you have to pick up something and then toss it against it, and then it's going to be a regular cut point. Multi-tools like these are good friends of yours in these situations, because they can, as you've seen here, they don't get used up. And after you bashed something into a cut point, into a cut guard, you can safely dislodge it. So here's another one. But basically everything you can think of is usable. But one thing I want to mention here, if you're using stuff like lights or such, keep in mind that they might be exploding or whatever and interacting with the environment. So yeah, apart from obvious tips and tricks like always work with unpressurized build areas, I'd say I'll leave the rest to you, friends. So if you're insecure how things are tethered together, your scanner helps you a lot. Those yellow blobs, those bright yellow blobs, are always the parts which keep the ships together. So once you've dissolved all the yellow parts, this ship will go. The ship will dissolve into pieces like crazy. And more often than not, it's not actually the smartest way to dislodge all the cut points. Once you have a little bit of experience, try to dislodge only the necessary cut points and keep the chunks as large as possible, but as small as you can. Because here's a data drive, always loot them, because it's really easy to dissolve everything into small parts, but that increases the amount of work necessary. If you manage to leave the chip chunks just large enough to not overstretch the power of your tethers and such, you're reaching the ideal efficiency. But that's a thing you always have to find out for yourself. So yeah, I think that's enough for the beginners tips and tricks part here. I didn't talk demo charges here yet, because demo charges are really easily explained and we didn't need them yet. And also I consider them more as a advanced topic. But one thing I wanted to talk about with the demo charges, that yellow grid you see there is the area of effect. So if you drift with Q and R accordingly, you can make sure that the area of effect of these demo charges is not touching anything else. So whenever I place them down, I always try to arrange that yellow grid in a way that it doesn't interfere with my things here. So you still see where this thing is going to work out. You have to swap with V, press the button, of course be not within that part, and then just boom. These things dissolve stuff which is way beyond your cutting power and therefore very powerful. Just keep in mind that every demo charge always due to the explosion, a physical push is happening, so therefore it'll make ship parts drift apart. Sometimes that's desirable, sometimes it's the exact opposite. So let's leave this ship here. It's going to be a horrible shift, money-wise, but that doesn't matter. So let's get into the hab. I want to talk in the hab a little bit about a few little tricks, but mostly I want to talk about upgrades and what I personally think about them, what you should pick up first and such. That's the theoretical part I was talking about at the beginning, and it's also going to be the shortest part. So first up, data recovery. Every single data recovery you do, let's do it for example, will grant you links tokens. The game really doesn't tell you as of yet. So here, I gained 100 links tokens. I don't know if there's any data fragments which are worth more than 100 links tokens, but the base value so far as I've seen things is 100 links tokens. So, pretty good to know that those info scraps are not only there for your entertainment. So let's go over the upgrades real quick. So with the laser cutter, I really think the range upgrades are not that important. I personally love the split saw range upgrades because this way you can cut through more cut points at once. The heat capacity and cooldown upgrades are, in my opinion, the most important upgrades for the laser cutter, because these make... with these upgrades you can weld down larger aluminum panels and open up your way a lot easier. So durability drain is always good, but it's not really a mandatory thing. They added that only recently. That wasn't a thing back then. So handheld utility grapple. We already talked about that a little bit. I would strongly advise you to put a lot of links tokens into that one first. So range, as I've mentioned before, is super powerful. I already demonstrated why. Grapple strength is again an upgrade which just upgrades the strength of things. I would say that's not as important as the range. The tether amount is absolutely vital. That's one of the most powerful upgrades. The more tethers, the better. And the tether lifetime also. The longer your tether's lifetime is, the better. Because more often than not, you're gonna use them a lot. Really a lot. So the charged push, well, I'd say unlocking it is very important, but these upgrades are, well, more of a quality of life thing. I like to have them because obviously it makes your work a lot easier, but I'd personally say the tethers and the range are the imperative upgrades on the utility grapple. On the thrusters, the thrusters are through and through a quality of life segment. It's just influencing speed, brake speed, and fuel capacity. Most of the time you won't even be noticing these things. With the scanner, it's a little bit of a different thing. The scanner, I really like to unlock all 3 scanner types, and then, well, the other things are just quality of life. I am not talking about the purchase upgrades here because they just reduce your daily costs. Nothing special involved here. But upgrading these sections here gives you these different filter overlays, and I personally value them a lot. On the helmet, it's very simple. You want to have that O2 capacity. The O2 recharge module, well, it only works in pressurized environments, and therefore I don't like it too much. But basically, as long as you're in a pressurized environment, you regain oxygen. But seriously, I never really used that thoroughly. I just unlocked it to try it out, but the O2 capacity is the thing you want to have, because it's just amping up the time you have before you have to return to your kiosk. So with the work suit, well, there's nothing too special to mention. I'd even say, apart from the direct suit integrity upgrades, these resistance upgrades are totally quality of life, because I'm not convinced about these percentile reductions. The last upgrade, the 30% reduction, is something you will really notice, but 5% reduction, you won't even notice that too much. The integrity, though, is very valuable because it makes a difference on how fast you die. Demo charges. With the demo charges, they are quite similar to the grapple. The more upgrades, the merrier. So capacity, of course, always good. The more, the merrier. Explosion size is extremely valuable because the smaller the explosion, the better, because this makes you more precise in your blastings, and with smaller explosion sizes you're having a lot less risk on you to blow up your environment too. And the disarming mechanism, I like to have the first one if I misplaced them. It's really annoying if you're not able to disarm them, but the rest here is just, well, not too important. Alright, so that's pretty much all right now. So we're still in early access, but nevertheless, I hope that was kind of helpful for you. I tried to allocate as many helpful things here as possible, which are usable on every kind of ship, not only for a certain type of ship. So yeah, feel free to drop me a comment down below if you think there's still something to ask for, or if you want to add more knowledge. Feel free to. I love to have extensive knowledge databases below tutorial videos, so go for it if you know more than me. Apart from that, likes and subscribes to the channel are super helpful and make me extremely happy, but the most important part for me is that you were happy, and hopefully you're coming back. Until then, have a good time. See you then.